All right, the question is, just how accurate is the new Rapsodo MLM2PRO outdoors in this environment here on the range? That is the question so many of you have asked in the comments, and that is the exact test we're going to be doing today. Now, just a little bit of a background, we've tested the MLM2PRO extensively indoors against the Foresight GC3. Well, today is our outdoor test. We are going to be using range balls. We have the GC3 set up, and you guys know how we do our test. 3 shots each with wedge, iron, and driver. And we're gonna tell you in just a minute which metrics we are going to be measuring with the 2 devices to see how accurate it can be. So, Mike's warming up over there. Let's head over, let's dig right into this thing. All right, Mike is all set, he's got wedge in hand. Let me tell you what metrics we're gonna be looking at today for this test. We got carry distance, we got ball speed, we got launch direction, and we've got launch angle. 2 things you're noticing are missing from our previous tests: spin and spin axis. Remember, without the RPT ball, the MLM2PRO will not give us those measurements. So we're gonna see what measurements we do get, how accurate those are, and we're gonna talk about it and give you our thoughts on that in a second. So remember, stay tuned. At the end of the video, we will go show you all the numbers, but let's start running through them. You ready with your wedge?
I'm ready, man, let's do it.
Okay. All right, Mike, read off your numbers. And the other thing I will tell you guys, we're gonna try to give you visually what we're seeing. We'll try to put some tracers in there. We do have a tracer here that we're getting from the Rapsodo range. The ball did move left. We see that on this. So we're gonna try to give you these more subjective visuals as well as we go. But what are your numbers?
Carry distance is 142. My speed was 102 on the ball speed.
Wait till I tell you these numbers, go ahead.
Okay. The launch angle was 27 degrees even, and I pulled that left. It was 0.7 left on the launch angle.
Here we got, get this, Mike. So the MLM2PRO, I know it's just 1 shot, but the carry distance exactly the same, 142.
Okay.
The ball speed here was also 102, which is exactly the same on the ball speed. The launch direction, I had negative 1.6, so it was within 1 degree there. And then we had the launch angle exactly the same. 3 out of the 4 numbers were read exactly the same.
So far, so good.
So far, so good. Okay. And one other thing I'm gonna tell you guys, you may get this question, in order to normalize things, we did set the barometer in, and I know we're getting really kind of techie here, but in the GC3, we set the barometer to off, so it is not making any adjustments for the environment. And we also set the Rapsodo to 0 as far as sea level goes. So everything is kind of normalized to sea level, no adjustments are being made for the atmosphere. All right, let's do another one. All right, so Mike's gonna hit one more wedge here. Remember, we're gonna give you all the numbers at the end, but also I wanna, before he pulls out the iron and starts hitting that, I wanna give you a little bit of our thoughts on those spin numbers, because as you're seeing here, they are not showing up as we said they wouldn't in the Rapsodo. It's just a dash, no spin numbers. We'll give you that in just a second. You got one more shot.
All right, carry 134. Ball speed on that was 102, 29.1 on the launch angle. And I pushed that right, that was 2.4 degrees right on the launch direction. So for me, as an amateur 10 handicap or 11-ish handicap, I am planning to use the MLM2PRO at the range like this with a mat just like this for my range sessions. So this is why I was really excited to do this, to see how accurate it was. All right, let's see if things change drastically as we move up the bag here all the way to driver. So 3 7-irons, let's go. Dead straight. All right, that was 175 carry. Speed was 115, ball speed. Launch angle, 20.9. And I visually hit that straight. It looked pretty straight. GC3 has me at 0.3 right, which it did look like it was leaking a little right, so 0.3 right.
Okay. All right, one more shot with 7-iron. And then, like I said, we'll be giving you the averages of everything in just a few minutes here.
All right, so that was a bad shot. I was hoping to hit a bad shot. I wanted to see what happens here. Push that way right.
Hoping to hit a bad shot, he says.
Sometimes.
He says.
During tests.
Yeah, he says.
Not on course.
Okay.
Carry 154.
Okay.
Ball speed 113.
Okay.
Launch angle was 20 degrees even. And here was the bad shot part, 3.2 degrees right.
All right, so Mike is gonna get his driver out now. We talked about this in a previous video, how driver can sometimes be the biggest challenge for some of these launch monitors because the ball is moving the quickest and often coming out with the lowest spin, obviously, and the lowest trajectory. So it's often harder to pick up as much data in that shorter throw. What we are gonna do is we're gonna move off of the mat, obviously, so that we can tee it up in this teeing area. That's the only change that we're going to make for this part of the test. But one thing that I'm gonna keep coming back to, and we're gonna go through these numbers in a second, what we're really measuring, although we're not measuring spin here, we're measuring those initial launch conditions. And that is telling us where that ball is starting out and how quickly that ball is starting out. And that is what's gonna actually determine the majority of where the ball winds up. The only missing component is that spin for these outdoor tests. But again, I wanna hear what you guys think. Does that matter to you when you're out on the range? How important is the spin, knowing that obviously you're seeing where that ball travels? So let's get set up here on the teeing area, hit 3 drivers, and then dive into all the numbers. Okay, we got everything reset and realigned for driver. And I tell you what, Mike, this for me, if I've got a launch monitor, one of the number ones I'm thinking when I pull driver is what? Carry distance.
That's it, man, the long ball.
I wanna see what my carry distance is. I wanna see how accurate that is. And the other big important one for me is gonna be launch angle. You're out here working on driver. Wedges similarly, you're working on launch angle. Right. But I think launch angle is gonna be one that I'm gonna be looking really closely at. And well, ball speed numbers, of course.
Sure, of course.
We all wanna be Kyle Berkshire, but
absolutely.
Let's see what we got here. We're gonna take 3 drivers. No long drive, no long drive swings.
Nice, easy ones.
Just put a couple of good ones out there. Good one to start.
All right. Carried that 247. Ball speed there was 154. And launch angle 14 degrees.
Launch direction?
3.6 degrees left.
So all good launches. And one thing I'm gonna note here, we said we'd talk about it. Visually what we saw a little bit of a fade on that ball. Yep. Again, I'm actually impressed that this thing applied a bit of a fade there.
Did it? Okay.
Without knowing
I was curious about that.
The spin. It's most likely understanding the launch direction and using that, but we've got a line here that I would say fairly accurately represents what was there. It's not way off by any means. So 2 more shots.
All right. Came to play today, boys. Where's the course?
Let's go. We got one more, and then we're going to go through all the averages.
Okay. Oh, wow. Felt good.
Looked good.
Yep. I pretty much had 3 identical shots. Carry 251. Ball speed 156. 10.5 on the launch angle.
Yep.
And my launch direction was 1.9 degrees left.
So let's dive into these, get them averages, and then tell you guys exactly what we saw. All right, we've got all our numbers, and like you've seen us do in other videos, we're gonna put them all on the screen for you right here. Feel free to pause them, digest them, or calculate them, crunch them in any way that you guys want as well. But what we're gonna do is give you some averages and also give you some of our thoughts on them. Okay. My first and initial thought is that I'm impressed again with the numbers we're seeing here. And no doubt, I'm gonna keep addressing the elephant in the room is with the spin missing in these conditions. You have to think about, if you're buying a device like this, what is your use case? For me, spin is always going to be most important in the indoor environment because I want to make sure that I'm getting that accuracy for the simulator and for my practice. Sure. Outdoors, like I mentioned earlier, I can see where the ball is going, but speed, ball speed, launch angle, carry distance, those are very important to me when I'm on the range. It's also important to understand and compare what we're spending here. With the Rapsodo, we're talking about a $700 device.
Yeah, it's about 1/10 of the cost.
Yep, with the Foresight, $7,000. So again, there's also understanding what you're getting, the price point, and where that matters, all right? So first, let's go to Wedge. Wedges, with the carry distance, we were average within 1 yard.
Take it.
Ball speed was within 1/2 mile an hour. Launch direction was within 0.2 on the angle, and the launch angle was in 0.1.
Okay.
All, like I said, numbers that are minimal in the overall effect of what it's going to be on the ball flight. Similarly with 7-iron, here we had one that was a little bit of an outlier as far as I'm concerned. You had your first shot, the carry distance was off by 7 yards.
Okay.
Then it came back 4 yards and 2 yards for an average of 4 yards and change. So there we're seeing it pretty darn accurate within 4 yards, but we did have that one outlier. What I was amazed with was the ball speed with the 7-iron every single one was exactly the same. There
Wow.
was no difference. They are all exactly the same. Launch direction and launch angle were both within 1 degree of each other.
Okay, yeah.
So again, the initial launch conditions that we're measuring, both devices are coming back very similarly. Remember, carry distance, there is some algorithm, some processing there. It's taking those launch conditions and processing that, and that's where we saw the disparity. But in the initial measured launch conditions, all very spot on.
I'm nervous about driver. It's a longer club. There's more speed involved. Hit me.
Don't be nervous.
Okay.
Because this is what I was very impressed with. The carry distance on driver was within 2.5 yards on average.
Wow.
2 out of your 3 drives were within 1 yard as measured or as calculated by both devices. There was one that was a 4-yard difference, which threw it off just a little bit. All right. Ball speed, here again, within 1/2 mile an hour, and your launch direction and launch angle were both within 1 degree on average.
Love it.
So very impressed with what we're seeing here. We're seeing, numbers from those initial launch conditions that are being measured very similar to an $8,000 device. And if I'm on the range, I want to know how far my ball is going. I want to know my ball speed, and I'm getting it from this device. So that was the test you guys were asking for. Let us know what other tests you want to see, and we will get out here, whether it's indoor or outdoor, and do them. But regardless, we have to feel that we're pretty impressed with these numbers out the gate, but want to know your opinion. What do you guys think of these numbers? What do you think of the spin? Let us know in the comments, and we'll see you in the next video.